I grew up in a little town tucked into the mountains of West Virginia. We didn't have malls or movie theaters. Our weekends were spent hunting in the hollows, fishing down by the creek, or sitting on the porch with stories passed down like family recipes. And if there's one thing you learn living that far out in the sticks, it's that some stories aren't just stories. Our place was a few miles outside of town, right on the edge of one of those long, narrow valleys folks call a hollow. The kind that looks beautiful in the day. Green trees stretching over the ridgeline, birdsong echoing through the hills. But at night, it becomes something else. The trees seem to press in closer, and the silence carries weight. Even the wind sounds different. People in town were friendly but cautious, especially about the woods. They'd warn you in a calm, matter-of-fact tone, like they were talking about the weather. Don't go too far after sundown, stick to the marked trails, and most important of all, never whistle after dark. They never told us why, not directly. Just said it wasn't good, that it called things in, things that listened, things that answered back. As a kid, I thought it was just superstition. Old Appalachian folklore to scare us into behaving, but my grandma, she believed it, deeply. She was born in that hollow, lived her whole life there. She had this look she'd get when the sun went down, always closed the windows, pulled the curtains tight, and kept a small jar of iron nails on the windowsill. Said it kept things out. Sometimes she'd mutter under her breath before bed, little prayers I didn't recognize. When I asked her about the whistling once, she looked me dead in the eye and said, "If you whistle, they know where you are. If they whistle back, it's already too late." It was early summer the night it happened. I was 15 and my cousin Luke was staying with us for a couple weeks. He was from Richmond, a city kid, more used to streetlights than stars. He liked to act tough, but I could tell the woods made him uneasy. That night it was hot. The kind of muggy that makes your shirt stick to your back. The house didn't have air conditioning, so we sat on the back porch after dinner, sipping iced tea and swatting away mosquitoes. Crickets chirped loud and steady, and somewhere out in the dark, a whip-poor Will called out. Luke asked, "So what's the deal with all the whistling stuff your grandma was talking about?" I shrugged. "Just something people say out here," Luke said. "Like Bloody Mary?" "No," I said. "People actually believe this. They say if you whistle after dark, something will answer, and if it does, you better get inside." Luke said, "That's just hillbilly nonsense." I didn't say anything, just sipped my tea and listened to the woods. Then Luke said, "Let's test it." Before I could stop him, he put 2 fingers to his lips and let out 3 sharp whistles. They echoed across the trees, sharp and loud. The porch light buzzed softly behind us. I waited for the crickets to return, but they didn't. The woods went silent, not gradually, instantly, like someone hit mute on the entire forest. Luke chuckled, but it sounded forced. "Creepy," he said, trying to laugh it off. "Maybe they just got spooked." But then we heard it. Same rhythm, same tone, but not an echo. It came from the trees, deep, distant, but real. Luke sat up straight. "You messing with me?" I shook my head slowly. "No." We listened. My heart was pounding in my chest. Then, maybe 30 seconds later, closer this time. Luke stood up, peering into the darkness. The tree line was maybe 50 feet from the porch. Just a black wall now under the moonlight. He squinted. "It's probably just an owl." I didn't answer. Another whistle came, this time different. Mocking, drawn out, human but wrong. like something imitating a whistle, not actually doing it. Then something moved. A shadow, low to the ground, quick, just at the edge of the yard. We both jumped. "I'm going inside," I said. Luke hesitated. I could see in his eyes he wanted to say something smart, but didn't. He followed me inside, and I locked the door behind us. We didn't talk much the rest of the night, just sat in the living room with the lights off, listening. And then, just after midnight, there was a knock on the back window. Not loud, just one soft knock. Then, tweet, 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 right outside. I didn't go look. Neither did Luke. We stayed there, still as statues, until dawn started bleeding through the windows. The next morning, everything looked normal again. Bright and green, sunlight on the porch, birds back in the trees. Luke said he probably just freaked himself out, that it was probably a fox or something mimicking sounds. But I wasn't so sure. Later that day, we walked down to the edge of the yard. The grass there was bent, trampled in a strange pattern. Not footprints exactly, but wide, shallow impressions, like something heavy had passed through without lifting its legs. Then, right at the forest line, we saw them. Footprints, clear as day in the mud. Bare, long, narrow, and every single one of them was backward. Luke turned to me as pale as chalk and asked, "What the hell walks like that?" That night, I found myself asking my grandma again, "What happens if something whistles back?" She stared at me for a long moment, then finally said, "You stay quiet, you close your windows, and you never go looking. Because if it gets close enough to whistle, it already knows your name." Luke left a few days later saying he wasn't feeling well. He told me not to mention anything to our parents. We didn't talk much after that, until, well, 3 years later when I got a text from him at 3:27 in the morning. No subject, no explanation, just 6 words. And those words were chilling. "It's outside. It's whistling. Again."